Hey guys, what's up? It's Ahmed from Sanctum Squad. I'm here to bring you a post-Alliance Insight Malice deck profile. Played this deck when it first came out. As you guys remember, I topped the regional in Cardiff playing Malice. I like this deck. Oh, I liked it, but I've been on and off with it. But post Alliance Insight, this deck definitely becomes, if not the best deck, definitely competing to be in that top tier bracket with whatever's out there. Played two pre-releases this weekend. Unfortunately, I lost the final today to time, but I believe I could have scooped earlier to make it an undefeated two pre-releases. So I went 9-1 overall. But yeah, this deck is incredible. I'm still learning some of the interactions. We've been testing with this a lot, me and the team. So yeah, I'll just get straight into it. I'll explain some of the cards as we go along. Be looking at some people's opinions on certain Malice lineups in terms of the monsters and even the traps, and I think some of those opinions are to be discussed because I think a lot of people are cutting Chessie. I still think it's worthy of playing 3 of. Not that it's the correct reason to play 3 of just so you can side one out easily, but I also think it puts a lot of pressure on board. Like seeing this as your normal summon with another Malice card is pretty good. It forces out imperms and ashes, baits out draws, because it is it's an Allure of Darkness on legs. It gets the rest of the engine going. I think it's pretty good. A little conversation about the new card. It's basically a Bystial in the main phase. But also it can do it from hand as well, just banishes 1. This card is brilliant. It's also the only one that doesn't lock you out when it's banished to add back to hand a Malice name, including itself. If you open it with White Rabbit, it gives you turn 1 plays, as if you're playing Labyrinth or Fire King. I think this card's really good, being able to set a trap with White Rabbit in the first turn, so that when you start your turn, it's like everything's already live. It gives you so much flexibility and a higher ceiling with the deck. You don't have to play Bystials anymore, but I think Bystials are still good. For the moment, I'm not playing Bystials, but seeing this card is really good, and it does actually help with giving you the hand advantage as well later on, especially if you want to play around draw and things like that. Not that draw hurts you, but if draw is one of those things that stop you from getting something from the deck that you need, it has ways of adding monsters back from the banished. Little niche, little interactions. It's a pretty good card. And for the new engine, 3 backup Ignister and 1 wizard Ignister. I think I'm going to bump this up to 2 just to try it out, because this doesn't really work under draw. Again, you don't really care about draw. It's a free body. If you're under draw. If not, it's just the most broken thing. You can add this. You can add any other names from here. This helps you play into Landseer. Landseer is still the best card against this deck, but I still, I think this engine helps you kind of grind through it, which is why I think playing 2 of this might be a bit more worthy. I know there's other cards that might be better to play than 2 of this. But yeah, this card's incredible. Being able to it's a Cybers tuner, so it works really well with Cybers Wicked, so it's searchable as well. And this being able to get you any form of Dark Cybers from deck to hand, and then discarding 1. The discard actually comes up a lot as well, being able to fuel your grave for an additional banish if you've used your normal summon, is pretty good. So there's there's a ceiling for some cool interaction with this deck. These cards are very, very good. And for the engine spells, we are playing 1 Malice in the Mirror, 2 Malice in Underground. Obviously this is at 2 now. I'm not playing the Terraforming because most often than not this is an extender. Previously in Malice builds, I would cut this to 2, siding, going second against Ryziel. And even though you are still not losing 90% of the time to draw, you still don't want to play into it because you want to take advantage of your Chessie Cats, you want to take advantage of your backup Ignist searches. So like, I don't want to play Terraforming. I don't think it's essential to the combo anymore, because more often than not, you're searching this now off White Binder. Having a free like Imperm and like, I think this card is really good. Obviously, you don't play 3 of it because it's not the card that you want to see. It's a card that you want to search and set up as part of your end board. But again, it is searchable with Red Ransom, and more often than not, that's the main search that you want to get off during your combos anyway, or playing into a board. And some honorary Maliss names is 2 Allures and 1 Gold Arc. I had 2 empty spaces in the deck, and I couldn't think of anything better than Allure. I've played Allure previously. I think it's a really good filler card. It lets you draw into more problematic cards for your opponent, draw into more hand traps if you get Lanced, sorry, not Lanced, if you get interrupted and you don't really have much to do. It's just a card that, like, I didn't really justify this properly, but it is a card that lets you dig for more hand traps, let you dig for more starters, more extension, especially when you have like the Agonist stuff now in the deck. Like, these are pretty cool. And it's also good games 2 and 3, easy side out targets. These 3 cards in general can be easy side out targets because game 2 and 3, you're going to be seeing a lot of Lancer. You don't want to be seeing these cards. So that's an easy swap out if you're struggling to find things to take out. And for the trap lineup, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about people cutting this card. I heard about this being cut, and I was like, in theory, that just makes no sense. Why would you cut this card? I took it out for like 2 games and immediately was like, why the hell are people cutting this? I think this is a very important part of the combo, and also I think it's one of the better ones now. GWC has always been the good one in terms of its flexibility, be able to gain life and time and things like that. But TB11, that ability to be able to summon a Link monster if you needed to, if you had Bricked or something like that, or got Lancer. Like, there was a game today where I opened one of these and I had a white rabbit, and being able to set the other and being able to summon a Link monster and being able to banish something just to kind of survive the turn was really important. I think you still play all 3 of them. Seeing one is not bad. The one you don't want to see is this one, but obviously you can't cut this one anyway. And these 2 I still think are, well, this one's definitely essential. This one sometimes gets sided out if you're going second, depending on the matchup. But I would be on the side of arguing playing all 3 of them still, from my experience. For the non-engine, before I get to the hand traps, I play the talents and the call by in the main. If you're going first, these can be good cards. If you're going second, they can still be very good cards against like Fiendspith and stuff like that going second. This stuff against like the Requiem and the Lacrima is pretty good. Talents going first and second can be really good. Better first than second, but it's not the end of the world to have one of this now, because it is at 1. I play Thrust in the side, so going first, this isn't the end of the world if you get nibbed or something like that. So it was, even when it was at 3, it was something that I'd play at 1 anyway in the main. If this wasn't a card, you could probably bump it to 3 Allures if you wanted to. But I think this is good. This won me 1 game today. So, and for the hand trap lineup, it's 3 Ash, 3 Fua. And for the interesting addition, we have 3 Droll. Let's bring these up a bit. 3 Droll, 3 Imperm, and 3 Impulse. Now, I know the whole concept of playing wins, a lot more wins in the hand trap lineup, but you have to be smart with these. If you open, like, let's say all 3 of these, you have to be smart with the order that you want to use them. More often than not, depending on the matchup, you might want to Droll first and even hold on to this, because the Droll may be the reason that you win the game instead of like being greedy with Falos. Obviously, if you don't have that many engine cards in your hand, you Falos and then like Droll when you need to. Impulse is, in my opinion, the best hand trap and probably one of the best cards in the game at the moment, and for this coming format. And the confliction with this deck is 1 card in the extra deck, which is Firewall, I think. But it conflicts with these 2. But more often than not, if you're not doing these in the first turn anyway, it's probably, if you're not seeing these in the first turn anyway, like you're probably like not needing to see them anyway. If you've got other interruptions, stop them, good. If you don't, there's a chance that you're gonna have to try and break the board, and if you can't be successful with that, these were irrelevant anyway. So impulsing at that point isn't the end of the world. I think this is not a fully solved hand trap lineup, because I think there could be a debate about switching these. If you take out impulses and side them if you wanted to, which is a very difficult thing for me to do, because as I said, I think this is one of the best hand traps in the game, if not the best. I think ogres are good. A lot of people hate me for thinking that Ghost Spell is a very good card in the format at the moment. There's DD Crows that don't conflict with this that you could probably put in for these, but in the Maliss matchup can be a bit iffy. But as I said, I don't play Bystials at the moment, so these could be sided for Bystials if you don't want these to conflict. But over the last 2 days, over the 10 games that I played, if you're smart about how you use these, this hand trap lineup is perfect at the moment. There's still a lot more testing to do, but that's a solid 40 card list. For the extra deck, we play the 3 names. You can make them all in one turn now and use all their effects in the same turn, which is pretty cool. You'll never cut any of these, I don't think. Now you play the Splash Mage. You have to add the Cyburst Wicked now, because it's what adds you the Atticness, the backup. The SP Little Knight, the Haggard Lizard, and the IP. So these are the Link 2s that we play. Now, a lot of people have been cutting this. I can understand the reasons why, because you don't really care about being Cyburst locked now with Splash Mage, but also Splash Mage doesn't force the trigger of another Maliss name. So for example, let's say you go normal Dormouse, banish White Rabbit, make this your Dormouse. If you target Dormouse, they're forced to like not Bystial, because your Dormouse is going to trigger anyway. And you're not, if your Dormouse summon resolves, like your Dormouse hasn't been used yet. Whereas with this, you have to use the Dormouse effect. So it's important that like you think about that depending on like how you want to do your combo line, whether you're playing into a board or going first. I still think this is important to play, because in follow-up turns, to kind of get something out of the grave, also alter someone's attack points, I think this can be very, very important. SP is SP, it does what this does, but a bit better in terms of interacting with your opponent. And IP helps in situations where like you've been hand trapped enough, or like you've been like Mulcharmead, you can set up on a way to kind of like interrupt your opponent later on in their turn. This can be a flex spot, I think. I still think that this is important to play. But for the time being, I think IP has its purpose in the extra deck. For the Link 1s, the most important extra deck monster is Lingaribo, because this is what allows you to trigger your Attignister cards, because it's a extra deck Cyburst monster. Cyburst monster summoned from the extra deck. Also a Trap Negate, which is really good in the mirror. The reason why you play 2 is because you want to be, like, if you've used one, there's often times where you have to make Cyburst Wicked and you need to summon something against underneath it. And the only way is by linking off again into another one. Also for grinding games where you have to like combo on a further turn and you've already used one of these, you've got a second one. I play the Link Spider. I was on and off with this because I was like, you can play through Nib very easily, but like this just makes it better to play through Nib. So for the time being, I'm still sticking with the Link Spider. But I am playing Almirage. So the reason is that if you open backup or wizard with like a hand trap, you can turn a hand trap into a Cyburst monster summon from the extra deck, which you can't with Lingaribo because most hand traps, all the hand traps aren't Cyburst, and it gives you a Cyburst body on board. So this has come up twice. So for the time being, I think this is sticking into the extra deck. And finally, the big ones of the extra deck is the Access Code Talker, Firewall, and we have the Allied Code Talker. This card is insane. We finally have an Omni Negate now. The bounces are bigger than ever. An Access Code Talker is better because you can actually summon it back with this because it's a 2300. I think these are non-negotiable. I think all these three are playable. This is kind of like a combo piece as well. This synergizes well with the Linger Evo as well because you can tribute it off to summon it out just so you get a trap negate. So that's the 15 extra deck cards. Of course, the bomb token. For the side deck, we've got the 3 Landseer. We play the 3 Perulia and the 3 Meows. I feel like just pressuring like draws with a deck that is so consistent in Maliss, and like the hand trap lineup that you play is a strong one. I think it's important for like your going second matchups that these can be sided in. I think they're both still really good in this format. Like this against Blue Eyes, this against Blue Eyes as well, this against Maliss, this against Memento, things like that. And you've got Fualos in the main as well, so you got access to all 9. When you go first, you want to put the crossout designator to put in one of the Landseers. And also if you get Landseered, you've got the thrusts to get the DDG and the dimensional barrier. You can also get like Impulse as well. I think this is just a basic side deck. Kind of covers like as much ground as possible. I don't know if I could if I'd change anything about this, apart from the fact that one of my QCR Meows has still not arrived yet. But it's all good. It's definitely on the way. I think that's just a standard line. You have to be playing these at the moment. Chaos Hunter with talents being at 1 is also potentially a shout as well, because this doesn't play into, after you've impulsed, you don't play into not being able to activate these. Would I change anything? Probably maybe putting in some more back row removal, especially when you got the thrusts, could be an option. But for the time being, I think this is pretty clean. It makes siding in and out of stuff very, very easy. So yeah, that's it for the profile. I played a lot of, fortunately, the matchups that I had over the weekend weren't just like round 1 against like some roguey stuff. Like I think I played meta decks every single round. Apart from maybe playing against live twin stuff once. That was, however, I actually, speaking about live twin stuff, I think that deck is looking a bit much stronger at the moment. So I'll definitely categorize that as being like a rougher matchup, especially when you don't open interruption and you go second. It is pretty rough. But again, this deck seems to be able to break boards a bit better now. Not as good as Ryziel does with like things like Ext, but I would definitely say that this is a deck to definitely consider, either respecting if you're not playing it, or if you are playing it, to understand like what sort of power you're basically working with, because this is one of the, if not the best deck for the format in my opinion. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We've got some other cool deck profiles coming out. We're going to be recording some more. So yeah, thank you.